Ani Nindanawe Maganidog. Hello, my relatives.
Gazali Squadrumepog. Begi Kendasa Wigumig.
Leech Lake Tribal College.
Became a study of sociology rather than education.
These people would have to, develop support.
Welcome here today. We're going to get started. We have extra food when we're done if you'd like to come, if you'd like to get some more once we're done. And our chef is Jessica Sacido. Where's she at? Yeah! This woman can cook and she's for hire. Remember, please, to turn off your cell phones. Okay, so come on, Kit, me, go ahead.
Bonjour, Kit Norby Indigenous Cause, Migazi and Dudem, Mishkwagami Wazaga Ganing, Indunjaba, Idash, Mishkwawa Kokug, Inda. I'm a second year student and I'm pursuing my associate's degree in liberal education. When I graduate from the tribal college, I plan to transfer to the BSU. Today, Dr. Lee Bitsoi will speak to us about the success factors of Native American males in higher education. Dr. Bitsoi received his undergraduate degree from the University of New Mexico, his master's from Harvard, and his doctorate from the University of Pennsylvania. Currently, he directs the Minority Action Plan program at Harvard Medical School. Dr. Bitsoi is from the Navajo Nation. Before he speaks, I want to tell you a few of the programs we have at Leech Lake Tribal College that helps first-generation college students who are the focus of Miikinaa 2012. That being their retention, academic success, and transfer to a four-year college. What we have in place for the tribal college students is the Path to Succeed course, which teaches students from the practical skills required to succeed at college and introduces them to the college procedures and available support services. In addition, all the classes at the tribal college participate in the academic alert system. This identifies students who are showing weak academic progress. Their academic progress is also identified at midterm. As a part of our system, and emails are sent to the students, and faculty and advisors call them at home to encourage them to improve their academic standing. Successful students also need good support groups, places to meet friends, and comfortable places to study. At the tribal college, students meet across the hall here at the Learning Center, where peers, mentors support them in academic studies. We also have our library and college lawn. Finally, Leech Lake Tribal College has the Miikinaa 2012. In this program, full-time faculty in the Arts and Humanities Department act as mentors to first-generation college students. Deborah LeClaire, Academic Dean, and Chris Fine-Day, Student Services Advisor. They're also mentors. Mentors also call students at home along with the advisors and faculty. In addition, they work with faculty and advisors in a team approach with students having academic difficulties. In this case, the contract is created in which specific steps and completion dates are agreed upon for a student to complete their assignments and become successful. But enough of the accomplishments of Leech Lake Tribal College and the first generation students. We want our students to succeed all the way to the end. So let us welcome Dr. Lee Bitsoi and learn about the success factors and contribute to degree completion of Native American males in higher education.
We always smudge ourselves from the bottom up. Thank you. Yeah. Good morning. Bushu. I hope I said that correctly. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce myself in Navajo. So thank you for allowing me to speak my language in your homeland, the Anishinaabe. Yate, she'eli Bitsoi kia ani nishlino hashlishni bashishin, sitna jini dashiche nahopane dashanala. So I'm telling you what my clan affiliations are. My primary clan on my mother's side is the Towering House clan, and my father's side is the Mud clan. And so that's how we introduce ourselves, by acknowledging who our parents are, and actually it's also the four directions, the east to the west and then south to the north. A lot of the work that I've been doing has been focusing on positive aspects of Native Americans in general, but specifically for Native American males. So I decided to focus on Native males at Harvard College as a starting point. Since that time, I've begun to include other population groups and different communities. And the study that I have that I'm going to use today is really about 4 Navajo men who are first generation and basically low income students at the time. Really, it's about increasing the body of knowledge of Native Americans in general and presenting ourselves in a different way from a strengths-based model as opposed to the deficit model. You have to really stop and think about what works for us as opposed to coming in and saying, okay, this is how we're going to help you, this is how we're going to save you. But save us from what? You know what? We're fine. We were fine before you came. We're miracle survivors. We're still here. But we do want answers to some of the social ills that we have, some of the epidemics that are in our communities. And I said, but you also have to remember that we want it on our terms now, because we have our own researchers, we have our own lawyers, we have our own physicians and educators and so forth. So therefore, we want it on our terms. So don't think of us as being anti-science, but think of it as being us taking a pro-Indigenous approach to science. And so that's what we're trying to do here, and that's what I always like to emphasize in a lot of the work that I'm doing. You have to meet culture and tradition more than halfway. And what I understand that to mean is to really maintain balance and harmony while pursuing your education, because I've also come to understand that education is complementary to who I am. And as I mentioned at the beginning, my clans define me. They define me, they define who I am, and that's how I identify first. So before I'm Lee, before anything else, before I'm a college graduate, I'm Navajo. And so once I understood that in my worldview, that made things that much more easier, especially with education. I come from a family of 7. I'm the youngest of 7, and my biological father passed away when I was 3 months old. And so my mother raised the 7 of us until she remarried when I was 13. And so during that time, when I think back in retrospect, how did my mother manage to survive with, she was a cafeteria manager, and she worked her way up from a cook's assistant to the time that when she retired, she was the cafeteria manager. And I think about how she really emphasized education. Every morning was like, okay, get up, it's time for you to go to school. And that was the message every single day. And you know, she actually went to a government boarding school. She also went to a parochial school. And she attended up to the 9th grade. And sometimes she talks about how she wishes that she had finished high school and how she wishes that she could have gone on to college. And I tell her, well, you know, Mom, you still can. And she laughs and she says, no, I'm too old. But what I like about her story is that she questioned authority. She didn't defy it. Well, I guess in some way she did. But when I think about her, she was an activist before her time, because she did not want to give up speaking Navajo. and they were punishing her for that. And they were, the Catholic boarding school that she attended last was trying to convert her to Catholicism. And she saw through that. And so she said, no, you're not going to convert me. I'll listen and I'll understand and try to understand how it fits into my life, but I'm not going to become Catholic. So traditionally our men were warriors, right? And we were hunters and gatherers. And so there were different roles that men and women played in traditional society. Well then, after years of oppression, and we know what went on, and so after having been beaten down by white people, white men in general, our men were ridiculed, and they were somewhat emasculated. And so therefore, what happened? Then social ills took their places in our societies. And then women saw education as a way of improving their lives and for the lives of their children. And so they saw a way to become professionals and to become the breadwinners. And I think that that's where there was a bit of a role reversal. And it's about conflict resolution and how do we deal with racism and stereotypes in higher education. And when you're at a tribal college, you have your support system in place, but when we go off to mainstream institutions, how do we navigate those environments? And how do we ask for help there? Whenever I go home, sometimes people will tease me, and I think it's just to remind me of who I am and where I'm from. And I'll walk into a room and maybe a relative that I haven't seen in a while. In fact, this happened last time I was home. She said in Navajo, "Oh, there's a white man who just came in." And I looked at her and I said, "Where is he? Did I miss him?" Of course, she was talking about me, but she said it in Navajo. She said, "Bilagana nakhana yala." So I looked at her and I said, "Khade snaga." So she started laughing because she was just testing me. She said, "Well, I was just wondering if you still understood our language." And I said, "How can I forget?" So it's always a reminder from my family, my relatives. And so that is my presentation. Again, thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. The image of, the media's image of what it means to be a male, especially in popular culture, it's about being a gangbanger or being a thug and wearing baggy pants and being a party guy. So those are the images that society places upon us. I was always made fun of when I was growing up, going through school, and I was called all sorts of names. Because I was good in the classroom, but my saving grace was being able to play basketball. So I was good in the classroom and on the court. And I always thought of myself to be being really cool. And it wasn't actually until graduate school that there was this epiphany. I was sitting there talking to a bunch of my friends about this research project we were working on. And then I realized, I stopped and I said, "Oh my God, do you realize how nerdy we sound right now?" And we all started laughing. And that was when I realized, well, yeah, what's wrong with that? And so that's when I embraced my nerdiness. And I'm fine with it now.
Leech Lake Tribal College provides quality higher education grounded in Anishinaabe values. Miigwech.